Hey Virgo, um, so someone's been carrying you in their thoughts more than usual lately, and it's not the casual kind of thinking. This is the kind that interrupts their day, that makes them pick up their phone and put it back down, that keeps them awake, processing something they can't quite name yet. They're trying to figure out what you mean to them. And that internal work, it's about to translate into external action. They're going to reach out soon in this period with more honesty than they've shown before. Let me describe what's happening. You may have noticed someone being quieter than usual, not because they're losing interest, but because they're in their head processing, trying to understand their own feelings before they express them to you. Some people go silent when they're sorting through emotions. They withdraw not because they don't care, but because they care too much to be casual about it. They need space to think clearly. It might feel like distance, like they're pulling away, like something shifted and you don't know why. But what's actually happening is they're getting clear, and clarity requires space. Let's pause here. This reflection invites you to consider, is there someone who's been unusually quiet while still showing signs they're thinking about you? Maybe they watch your stories, like your posts, react to things but don't actually start conversations, like they're staying connected while maintaining distance. You may have interpreted this as mixed signals, as breadcrumbing, as someone who wants attention but doesn't want commitment. It's possible it's something else entirely. They're not playing games. They're trying to get honest with themselves about what they feel before they involve you in it. Some people rush into expressing feelings before they've processed them. They say things they don't mean, make promises they can't keep, create confusion because they haven't sorted through their own confusion first. This person isn't doing that. They're taking the time to understand what they feel before they bring it to you. And that's actually mature, even though it feels frustrating from your end. It can feel like you're waiting for them to figure out something that should be obvious, like either you like someone or you don't, either you want them or you don't. But feelings aren't always that simple. Sometimes you feel something and you're not sure if it's real or just loneliness, if it's genuine or just convenient, if it's worth risking or if you should protect yourself. This reflection invites you to consider, can you give someone space to process without personalizing their silence? There's something specific about what they're thinking. It's possible they're asking themselves if what they feel is casual or serious, if this is just attraction or something deeper, if they want you in their life temporarily or permanently. They might be comparing what they feel for you to what they felt for others, trying to determine if this is different, if this is special, if this is worth disrupting their life for, or they're processing fear, fear of vulnerability, fear of commitment, fear of getting hurt or hurting you, fear that if they express what they feel, everything changes and they can't go back. Some people overthink feelings into oblivion. They analyze instead of just feeling. They create problems that don't exist because sitting with uncertainty is uncomfortable. You may have been one of those people before, thinking yourself out of connection because you couldn't guarantee the outcome, missing opportunities because you needed certainty before you tried. But this person is thinking hard because they know what they're about to do matters, because reaching out with honesty is different than reaching out casually, because they're preparing to be vulnerable in a way they haven't been with you before. It can feel frustrating being on the receiving end of someone's processing. Like, just tell me already. Just say what you feel. Just take the risk. But you can't rush someone into vulnerability. They have to get there themselves. and pushing them just makes them retreat further. This reflection invites you to consider, what do you think they're processing about their feelings for you? Let me talk about what reaching out soon actually means. It's possible soon means in this month, as we move through this period, not necessarily today or tomorrow, but not months from now either. There's something about this time that feels like a catalyst, like they're hitting a point where staying silent is more uncomfortable than speaking up, where the internal pressure of unexpressed feelings becomes greater than the fear of expressing them. They might reach out with a simple message that opens the door. I've been thinking about you. Can we talk? There's something I want to say. Not the whole confession, just the invitation to have the conversation. Some people expect grand gestures, dramatic declarations, perfectly crafted speeches, but real vulnerability is usually simpler, more awkward, more human. You may receive something that feels anticlimactic compared to what you've been imagining. A regular text, a casual suggestion to meet. Nothing that screams, I've been processing my feelings for weeks and I'm about to lay them all out. But pay attention to the energy underneath the words, to what they're actually asking for, to the vulnerability in the simplicity. It can feel like you're reading between the lines again, trying to decode what they mean instead of just hearing what they say. But sometimes the words are simple and the meaning is deep. Sometimes, can we talk means, I need to tell you something I've been scared to say. This reflection invites you to consider, if someone reached out wanting to talk, would you be ready to hear what they have to say? There's something about your own feelings that matters here. It's possible you're not sure what you want anymore. You were interested, maybe you still are, but the silence has created distance, and now you're not sure if you're still in the same place emotionally that you were before. You might feel guarded, like you're not going to make yourself vulnerable to someone who's been distant, like they need to prove their interest before you show yours. Or you might feel hopeful, like finally, like this is what you've been waiting for, like you're ready to meet their honesty with your own. Some people have already moved on emotionally by the time the other person finally speaks up. The window closed, the feelings faded, the opportunity passed. You may be approaching that point, or you may have already crossed it. And if so, their reaching out might feel too late instead of perfectly timed. And that's okay. You're not obligated to still be interested just because they finally got brave enough to be honest. Your feelings have their own timeline. It can feel guilt-inducing to not be interested anymore when someone finally shows up the way you wanted. Like you should reward their vulnerability even if you're not feeling it. But you don't owe anyone your feelings. You can appreciate their honesty and still not reciprocate. You can acknowledge their courage and still choose differently. This reflection invites you to consider, are you still interested or have you moved past this while they were processing? Let me talk about what you might need from this conversation when it happens. It's possible you need directness, clear statements, not hints or implications or vague suggestions, actual words about actual feelings. You've done enough interpreting, enough guessing, enough trying to figure out what someone means instead of just hearing them say it. You need them to be specific. I have feelings for you. I want to explore this. I've been scared, but I'm ready now. Something unambiguous that doesn't require you to decode. Some people stay vague even when they're trying to be honest. They hint around the truth without actually stating it. They create plausible deniability, so if you don't reciprocate, they can pretend they didn't mean it that way. You may need to push for clarity if they start hedging. What are you actually saying? What do you want from this conversation? Because you deserve to know what you're responding to. And you need them to respect your response, whatever it is. Yes, no, maybe, I need time. You need them to hear you without pressure, without manipulation, without making you feel guilty for whatever you feel. It can feel demanding to require someone to be clear and respectful. Like, you should just be grateful they're being vulnerable at all. But vulnerability doesn't exempt someone from treating you well. Honesty doesn't mean you have to accept whatever they're offering. This reflection invites you to consider, what do you actually need to hear from this person? There's something about timing and readiness. It's possible they're reaching out now because they're finally ready, but that doesn't mean you're ready. Your timelines don't have to match. They needed time to process. You might need time to respond. And that's fair. That's balanced. That's both people having agency instead of one person dictating the pace. You can hear them out and say, I need to think about this. You can appreciate their honesty without giving an immediate answer. You can take the space they took before bringing you into their process. Some people feel pressured to respond immediately when someone confesses feelings. Like, the moment requires a decision right then and there. You may feel that pressure, but you can resist it. You can say, thank you for telling me. I need time to process. And anyone who respects you will give you that time. Because if they took weeks or months to figure out their feelings, you're allowed days or weeks to figure out your response. It can feel like you're leaving them hanging, like it's cruel to not have an immediate answer. But it's crueler to give an answer you're not sure about, to say yes because you feel pressured or no because you're protecting yourself without actually considering what you want. This reflection invites you to consider, will you give yourself permission to take time before responding? You remain in complete control of how this unfolds. You can be open, cautious, excited, skeptical, ready, uncertain. The power is yours. It always has been. You may notice reading this has brought up specific feelings about a specific person, maybe anticipation, maybe dread, maybe hope wrapped in protection. Whatever it is, honor it. Take what resonates. Softly release the rest. Trust yourself. Before we close, I want to ask you something. If someone who's been distant reached out saying they've been thinking about their feelings for you, would your first reaction be excitement or skepticism? Drop it in the comments. And this, what would you need to hear to trust that their honesty is worth engaging with? They're thinking hard about their feelings for you and someone's reaching out soon. And when they do, you get to decide what that means. Does it mean a second chance, a first real chance, or just closure that they finally spoke up even if the timing's off? All of those are valid. All of those are yours to choose, not eventually. Soon, trust yourself with this trust that you can hear someone's truth without making it your obligation. Trust that their readiness doesn't have to match yours. Trust that honest conversations can happen without predetermined outcomes. I'll see you in the next one. And listen, someone finally being honest about their feelings is a gift. What you do with that gift is entirely up to you. Stay open, stay boundaried, stay true to what you actually feel. They're coming. Be ready to listen and be ready to choose yourself regardless of what they say.